Good afternoon, students. Uh, Let us move on to our next chapter from your book Vistas, and this is chapter number 3, Journey to the End of the Earth. See, students, this chapter is more of a, you can say, geological and geographical chapter than a chapter of English, as when we read chapters in English, we are used to listen to some kind of story, its theme, uh, what happened in the story, the beginning, the end, the conclusion. Okay, this chapter is not a story, it is just an account of the author's visit to Antarctica. First, you have to understand this, then only you will be able to understand this chapter, right? And the thing is that this chapter is in your Vistas, your supplementary book. So the questions that is reference to context will obviously not be the part from this chapter. Okay, but that does not mean that you people have to be very casual regarding this chapter. You will be asked 2 mark questions and 6 mark question. Okay, see, students, before you read, what is being mentioned in the chapter is that if you want to know more about the planets, past, present, and future. Now, planet, which planet here refers to? Obviously, it is the Earth. Now, past, present, and future. So, if you want to know more about the planet's past, present, and future, the Antarctica, according to the author, the Antarctica is the place to go. Bon voyage. See, this term, bon voyage, is used when somebody starts a journey, and in simple term, it means best of journey. Okay, all the best for the journey. Now, what the author focuses in this chapter is how the earth was, say, before the human beings captured it. I'm using the word capture. Why? Because human beings, because of more of, say, industrialization, human beings have inhabited the earth in the sense that they are the owner of the earth. They neglect the other living creatures which are the which share the equal part of the earth. I mean, they also have equal rights as human beings have on this earth because they are also living creatures. But human beings, because of industrialization, because of more and more growth, indiscriminately has destroyed the natural wealth of this earth, right? Be it rivers, mountains, sea, anything, and even the wild animals. Now, you know that, uh, say, for the last 20 or 25 years, human beings have realized this. They are trying to save vegetation, wild animals, to maintain that ecosystem. Okay, you know that food chain also. So, if wild animals are less, the complete food chain is destroyed, you know that. Okay, but is human being successful in that? No, not yet. We have a long way to go, and nowadays, see, students, we are in a very critical time as far as the existence of human beings is concerned on this planet. All of you know that. And then you might have also watched in the news that because of the lockdown, human beings are restricted, their actions are restricted, the industrialization, the factories, everything is locked. And because of this, the rivers have become clean. The mountain ranges, which not visible from some particular places, they are now visible because of the decline in air pollution. There, the air nowadays is clean. So it was the news that even the Himalayas, which are in Nepal, were visible from Bihar. Just imagine. Now the water of river Ganga, Ganges, that is called in English, it is fine with Ganga only, has become so clean that even we can drink it. Imagine. So, students, this is the chapter about that even the icebergs nowadays are melting, the glaciers are melting, and because of this, the sea level is increasing, and again, it has its after effects, its repercussions, obviously, on the living beings, including mankind, right? So, let us start the chapter. See, this is again, it is an autobiographical sketch. The author is I here, and this is autobiographical because I told you that the author has visited Antarctica. She was a part of a team uh, made by some Canadian. Okay, he was a Canadian academician, and he wanted to select, or he made a team of select students who visited Antarctica in order to read that particular continent, so that why that visit was important according to the Canadian, because he wanted that some students, they should visit it, they should see it, and then they should act over it. Act over what? That how we have changed this planet, what repercussions are, what bad effects are, and how we can control it. See, if human life is there, development can't be stopped, right? We cannot stop development. Then the life will become simply impossible. But again, what concrete steps should be taken, that has to be analyzed by those students. And why students? Because they are again the builders of future. Students, you are called the future citizens of this country also, and it is said that young generation, the coming generation, they will build a new country, a new world, a new world. And in India, we say that you will be build a new country, and that is why this fellow, he selected group of students, right? Now let us complete two or three paragraphs today. Early this morning, I found myself aboard a Russian research vessel, the academic Shokalsky, heading towards the coldest, driest, windiest continent in the world, Antarctica. So, Antarctica has been described as the windiest, driest, and coldest continent in the world. One thing. Second thing is, how did the author reach there? The author with a group of other students reached there by a Russian research vessel, and the name of that research vessel, which was used to reach there, was Academic Sholasky. So, Academic Sholasky basically is a proper noun, it is a name of a Russian research vessel. Is that clear? Yes. Now, my journey began 13.09 degree north of the equator in Madras. Means she started from Madras, Indian. She is an Indian and involved crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and at least as many ecospheres. See, these are the geographical terms. She says that she, during her journey from Chennai, nowadays it is Chennai, that time it was Madras, called Madras. She has started her journey from Madras, and then she crossed 9 time zones. Time zones, I hope you understand. See, students, Greenwich time zones means every country has a different time of sunrise, sunset. There is a big divide between the Western countries and Eastern countries, right? So when we have day, the Western countries have night. So we have different time zones also, right? Even there is a 2 hours difference between the eastern part, the topmost eastern part of Arunachal Pradesh in our country, and the western part in Gujarat. Okay, so don't go into that detail. Simply, there is different time zones. Different countries have different time. Okay, if it is suppose 3 o'clock here in the afternoon, it might be some other time in the European countries, some other time in the American countries and African countries. I hope you understand. So he says that my journey. The author, she says that my journey began 13.09 degree north of the equator in Madras and involved crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, means different points where they were made to change, uh, they were checked. 3 bodies of water. 3 bodies of water means they have to cross the sea, ocean, rivers, everything, and at least as many ecospheres of different geographical nature. Now, by the time I actually set foot on the Antarctic continent, she says the time I reached exactly there on the Antarctic continent, I had been traveling over 100 hours. Means how long was the journey? The journey was for 100 hours in combination of a car. Means these are the mode of traveling that were used by the author to mark question. Combination of a car, an aeroplane, and a ship, water ship. So my first emotion on facing Antarctica's expensive, quite wide, quite big, expensive. Okay, it is not expensive. Expensive is very costly, very dear. Here it is expensive, which is expanded in a large area, which is you can say there in a big area. So Seychelles, the author's first emotion, again to mark question. My first emotion on facing Antarctica's expansive white landscape. Why it is called white landscape? Obviously, because it is totally covered with ice, snow. So it is called white landscape, and uninterrupted blue horizon was relief. Again, I had been traveling over 100 years in combination of a car, an aeroplane, and a ship. So my first emotion on facing Antarctica's expensive white landscape and uninterrupted blue horizon was relief. Relief means at least she reached there. Blue horizon. Horizon, basically is what which place is called horizon, where it seems where then that the sky and the Earth has a meeting point. So that portion is called horizon. It was a relief followed up with an immediate and profound wonder, very lot of wonder, profound wonder, deep wonder, wonder at its immensity. Now, its immensity means how immense, how big Antarctica was. The whole continent was covered with snow. So it is also amazing to see a land which is totally covered with snow, and that too so immense, so big, so huge. So the author says, I wondered, I was surprised at its immensity, its isolation. Obviously, it is isolated from the other continents, it is isolated from the other, you can say, part of the world. Moreover, it's isolated also in the sense that it is not inhabited by human beings. So that human rush is not there. Okay. So, what is the word that the author has used? She says that when I reached there, I was surprised with its immensity, with its hugeness, with its uh, landscape, the type of landscape it has, and also because it is isolated. But again she says, wonder at its immensity, its isolation, but mainly at how there could ever have been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same landmass. Yes, this is again something new that the author has disclosed here, that she was surprised standing on that particular continent that Antarctica and India, they were the same landmass, and now they are separated. Maybe earlier also you would have studied it in geography. The part of history here she is sharing ki how India and Antarctica were the part of the same landmass. This has to be understood for 2 mark question or 6 mark question. I am reading the paragraph. So 650 million years ago, see the time. It is not 100 years, 200 years, or 1,000 years. 650 million years. 10 millions makes 1 lakh. So 650 million years ago, a giant, a big, huge, amalgamated means when things are together, okay? Combined. Amalgamated southern supercontinent, Gondwana. See, they were basically, it is said that Gondwana was in the southern hemisphere of this earth, and it was a very big, huge supercontinent. Students, pay attention. 650 million years ago, a giant southern supercontinent, amalgamated southern supercontinent. Its name was Gondwana, did indeed exist. Means at that time, some 650 million years ago, it existed, centered roughly around the present day Antarctica. Means you know that Antarctica is just near the southern pole. Okay, we have North Pole and South Pole, so Antarctica is in the South Pole, and Gondwana existed there. Things were quite different at that time. Things were quite different then. Humans had not arrived, means human existence was not there. Humans had not arrived on the global scene, and the climate was much warmer. Warmer, not here. It is nowadays we have increased the human beings have increased the temperature of the earth as a whole. In Antarctica, what she is referring to, that things were quite different then. Humans had not arrived on the global scene, and the climate was much warmer, hosting a huge variety, different variety of flora and fauna. Okay, flora and fauna, you understand. Flora is related to plants and fauna animals. So there was huge variety of flora and fauna. For 500 million years, Gondwana thrived. Means it was known as that whole amalgamation of different continents that is today. At that time, it was all together. It was amalgamated, and it was called Gondwana at that time. So Gondwana thrived means Gondwana was there, it existed. But around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out, you have heard about dinosaurs. At that time, human beings were not there. But around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out, at the age of the mammals got underway, and after the dinosaurs, the mammals, they started existing on the earth. Mammals, you understand, mammals are those who give birth to their children. Okay, so mammals got underway. The landmass was forced to separate into countries. Which landmass the author is referring to here? Gondwana. It was forced to separate into different countries, shaping the globe much as we know it now. Means something happened. The Gondwana was disintegrated. It was fragmented. It was set apart. Okay, and it took the shape of the globe that we know today, that exists today. This is what the author is saying. Now, to visit Antarctica, how now is to be a part of that history, to get a grasp, to get the idea where we have come from and where we could possibly be heading. See, what the author is referring here is that visiting Antarctica gives opportunity to know about the past of this planet Earth, present we know, and where we are heading towards. Means what we are making of this planet Earth. So this is what the author is saying, that to visit Antarctica now is to be a part of that history, to get a grasp of where we have come from and where we could possibly be heading. It's to understand the significance of Cordilleran folds. Folds means that mountain peaks that we have, that we see, and Precambrian granite shield, Cambrian granite shield. Again, see, Cordilleran folds. I told you it means different mountain peaks, the shape of the mountain peaks, right? Now, there is one other word, Precambrian granite shields. Means these granite sheets which were formed uh, in the earliest geological era. So, to understand this, it is to understand the significance, the importance of how the mountain folds, mountain peaks were formed, the Precambrian granite shields were formed, the ozone and carbon evolution and extinction. See, ozone layer, science students, they easily understand, right? That if uh, what is happening if ozone layer is depleted. So, when you think about all that can happen in a million years, it can get pretty mind boggling, mind confusing, mind boggling, puzzling. Imagine India pushing northwards, jamming against Asia. Means from Gondwana land, India pushed towards north direction, jammed, get gotten mixed with Asia to buckle its crust and form the Himalayas. Again, here, to buckle its crest means somehow it bended. There was a bend, and the Himalayas were formed. This is what the author is saying, that there was disintegration of Gondwana. India moves towards the north. It had some bend, and because of that, Himalayas were formed. South America drifting off to join North America, opening up the Drake Passage to create a cold circumpolar current, keeping Antarctica frigid, desolate, and at the bottom of the world. Yes, South Africa drifting, moving off to join North America, opening up the Drake Passage. Again, there is one, this is also a geographical term that is what the author is used is Drake Passage. Drake Passage, basically it is a water body between the South America and the Antarctica. Okay, so that water portion, that is called Drake Passage. And because of this Drake Passage, see, simply understand this Drake Passage. It is a water that you can say the water between the South America and the southern Shetland island of Antarctica. So that water which separates it, this water body has basically made Antarctica very frigid, very cold, very desolate. Desolate means isolated, lonely, and at the bottom of the world. As you know that it is in the southern portion, the South Pole, and for 6 months there is day, and for 6 months there is night. Where in Antarctica? So because it is the southernmost point of this planet Earth. So this is what the author has described in this paragraph, that Gondwana land it disintegrated, India pushed towards northward, the Himalayas were formed. See, basically the scientists have made this, so we have to believe. Okay. Otherwise, nobody was present there to see what has happened and how it has happened. It is because of the formation and the globe, what it is today, that and the scientists have studied the crest of the earth, different parts of the earth, and they have made this conclusion that these are the continents which were separated from Gondwana land. Okay, now South Africa drifting off to join America. Then there was a river passage, the Drake Passage, and then is the continent Antarctica, which is very cold, very frigid, very desolate, very lonely, and it is at the bottom of the world. Okay, students, now we will continue tomorrow, and I will tell you the important questions as well.